and welcome to Neat HQ here in Barnard Castle, where it's an important moment for the company where we reveal our new loudspeaker, the Orkestra. In the next few minutes we'll introduce you to the new speaker for the first time, and we'll also tell you a little bit about how the speaker was conceived and developed.
Every launch is important to us because it shows where Neat is heading and what we can achieve as a brand in a very competitive market. The Orkestra is particularly important because it will sit at the top of the range before we get to the Prestige Ultimatum models. There are high expectations for the Orkestra because it builds on the qualities of the existing Extra and Minister loudspeakers, which have both been incredibly successful for us. The Orkestra marries several design elements that are distinctive to Neat and make our loudspeakers stand out from the crowd. With any new design, it's essential to keep what we feel is a key part of a loudspeaker's design, to preserve the musical performance and present an engaging and involving experience in the listener's room. I suppose it means that what you see on the outside is only half the story. We are very keen on the isobaric principle of bass loading, where there is another identical driver hidden behind the main bass driver. The isobaric or compound bass loading principle has been around for several decades. It involves the use of two identical bass drive units, each receiving the same signal and in the same phase. This gives the system more control over the bass and enables the speaker to act as if it's in a volume twice as big as the volume it's in, so you get much deeper and more controlled bass from a given sized enclosure.
The development of the Orkestra can be traced back to the launch of the Extra in early 2019. The Extra was conceived as a way of creating a speaker with a tiny footprint for rooms where full range performance is required, but speaker placement might be a challenge. Incorporating a true ribbon tweeter together with some ideas from the flagship Ultimatum range and the popular Motive range, this tall and slim design was an immediate success. The stand mount Minister was introduced not long afterwards and has already been the subject of some outstanding reviews. We knew our existing middle range, the Momentum series, was nearing the end of its run, and we needed a new model to fit into this level. The feedback we'd had from our partners in the UK and across the world was that they loved the sound of the Extra, but they needed something a bit bigger with a bit more bass extension and a bit more scale to fit into larger listening spaces. The Orkestra is essentially a scaled up version of the Extra with 6-inch versions of the same drive unit and the same tweeter but with a larger surface area.
As mentioned earlier, the isobaric compound bass loading has a lot to do with the Orkestra's performance. The overall configuration is almost identical to our high-end Ultimatum XL6 loudspeakers. Another feature we borrowed from the Ultimatum range is the separate baffle, where the bass mid-driver and tweeter are mounted so they are less affected by resonance from the main cabinet that's held on to the main cabinet via a polyethylene membrane. The true ribbon tweeter is exceptional at recreating high frequencies, and this is another area where we feel the Orkestra is a cut above most of its competitors.
We're very aware that loudspeakers are the most visible part of a hi-fi system and they need to look good as well as sounding great. We've kept the fundamental design markers from the Extra, so the front baffle, the distinctive feet, and we'll be offering, as usual, the loudspeaker in a range of finishes. There'll be walnut, natural oak, black oak and satin white.
It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I keep from going under. My brother's doing bad, stole my mother's TV. Says she watches too much, it's just not healthy. All my children in the daytime, Dallas at night. Can't even see the game or the Sugar Ray fight. The bill collectors, they ring my phone and scare my wife when I'm not home. Got a bum education, double digit inflation, can't take the train to the job. There's a strike at the station. Me on King Kong, standing on my back, can't stop to turn around. Broke my sacroiliac, a mid-range migraine, cancer membrane. Sometimes I think I'm going insane. I swear I might hijack a plane. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.